what is anxiety? Why am I actually struggling with something that I can't put a pinpoint in? Like, it's such a broad range of things.
And you're constantly feeling under pressure and like nervous.
Anxiety isn't actually a real thing, but it's just a thought that you've made up in your head.
That's amazing. Yeah, a misuse of your imagination.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So that stuck with you?
Yeah, and every time I have like my anxiety gets worse, that's what I always just think. It's just my imagination making it up.
Oh, that's brilliant. Hello everybody, and a big warm welcome to Anxiety Uncovered, the podcast that inspires young people to manage anxiety and for the adults who want to empower them to succeed. I'm Joe Rowntree, stand-up comedian, presenter, and now anxiety specialist for young people. 15 years ago, I was mugged on the streets of Barcelona, an experience that left me battling chronic anxiety, PTSD, and OCD for many years. I eventually reached out, and thanks to the incredible support from family, friends, and the amazing team at the Maudsley Hospital Centre for Anxiety, extensive therapy, and my background in psychology, I found a way through it. Now, I'm here to help you do the same. So come and join the conversation, have a listen, a laugh, and learn everything you need to know to transform your anxiety into your biggest strength. I'll see you inside. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Anxiety Uncovered. It's great to be back. This week, we're asking the big question: what actually is anxiety? In this episode, I'm going to share with you a really clear and simple definition of anxiety. Then we'll break down the difference between anxiety, fear, and anxiety disorders. There's often a little bit of confusion about the meaning of each of these. Then I'll show you how anxiety can actually be one of the greatest superpowers we possess as human beings. And don't forget to listen till the end, where I'll be sharing my top takeaway of the week from my anxiety toolkit. And this week's takeaway is brilliant, and I know you're going to love it because it's really going to help you manage so much better in those moments where you feel stressed and overwhelmed. So stay tuned for that. So anxiety, what is it? So I'm going to start with a really clear definition. Here goes. Anxiety is like your brain's built-in warning alarm system. It's there to help you survive and stay safe, and it's totally normal. But sometimes it goes off when it doesn't need to. It sets off a false alarm. It happens when your brain thinks or imagines something bad might happen, so your body gets ready to protect you, even when there's no real danger. Think of anxiety a little bit like a smoke alarm. A smoke alarm is meant to alert you to real danger, right? Like a fire. But sometimes it goes off just because someone burnt the toast. That's anxiety. Same alarm, but no real threat. Just burnt toast. And sometimes anxiety can start in your brain. Other times it starts in your body. And here's how it typically plays out. Your brain gets nervous. Maybe you're thinking or imagining something going wrong. Your body tenses up. You know the feelings, heart races, butterflies. So your body then sends the signals back to your brain saying something's wrong. And then your brain gets even more nervous, more thoughts like the what ifs and the worst case scenarios, which then makes your body feel even more anxious. And it just keeps going round and round. It's a feedback loop, sometimes called the anxiety cycle. And once it kicks in, it can feel really overwhelming. Other emotions like fear, anger and guilt, maybe a little bit of shame, often crash the party too. And then you might start avoiding things, overthinking everything, constantly seeking safety and reassurance, or just feeling completely out of control. But here's the good news. Once you understand the loop, you can start to interrupt the loop. And that is anxiety in a nutshell. So the next time you experience it, simply ask, am I in real danger? Is there a real fire? Or is it just anxiety? Has someone just burnt the toast? All right. Hope that was clear. So let's move on. Now let's look at fear. Fear, on the other hand, is about real danger. Anxiety and fear often get a little bit confused. Fear is a reaction to real present danger happening right now, like a smoke alarm going off for a real fire, warning you to run because there's real danger. Fire, run. Or maybe you've been chased by a dog. Leg it. Roof, roof, roof. And when the fear response is triggered, your internal system kicks in. It's called the fight, flight, or freeze. And it helps to keep you safe. And once that danger's passed, your body's job is done. You return to calm. Phew. Danger averted. Animals are brilliant at this. Think of zebras and antelopes. If they get chased and escape being eaten by a lion, the moment they outrun the lion and realize the lion is gone, what does it do? It shakes it off, literally. Straight away, goes back to baseline, back to grazing, eating some grass, no overthinking. It just resets and carries on. It's amazing. That's the fear response doing its job and moving on. But humans, what do? We replay the fear. We remember it. We imagine it happening again and again. And because we're human, with powerful imaginations and a prefrontal cortex, our brains don't always know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. We can re-experience fear just by thinking about it, even when there's no actual danger. It's like watching the trailer of a scary movie on repeat over and over. Your brain reacts as if the danger is happening again, even though it's just a mental replay. That fear starts to loop and it turns into anxiety. And that's why I love the acronym FEAR, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. I like that one. So that was fear. So now let's look at anxiety disorders. So what happens when fear and anxiety get stuck in the on position? That's what we call anxiety disorders or clinical anxiety. It's when anxiety becomes excessive, ongoing. It's relentless, often lasting 6 months or more, and it gets really disruptive, meaning it gets in the way of school, work, relationships, or just daily life. And you might start avoiding things like social events, school, new situations, even when there's no real danger. Your brain might feel like it's constantly on high alert. Your body never gets the signal to relax. And sometimes the anxiety is about specific things like phobias, scared of spiders, frightened of clowns, or social situations. Other times, it's more general, just a constant sense of unease or tension or just worry about everything. All anxiety disorders could just as easily be called anxiety avoidance disorders. Let me explain. The more we avoid anxiety, push it away, escape it, try and fight it, the more it sticks around. There's a great saying which goes, whatever we resist persists. And with anxiety, that's especially true. What we have to do is we have to feel it. We have to feel it to heal it. So compare the emotion of anxiety to that of the emotion of joy. Think what happens when you feel joyful or happy and you start laughing. When you feel joy or you have a bit of laughter in your life, what do? You let it in. You experience those emotions fully. Why? Because they feel good. But with anxiety, because it feels uncomfortable, we treat it like something to fight off or run from. And the more we push it away, the more it pushes back. Anxiety is a little bit like a beach ball. The harder you try to shove it underwater, the more forcefully it pops back up again. But anxiety isn't the enemy. It's like any other emotion. It just needs to be felt, noticed, understood, not shoved down and feared. So in summary, before we move on, some anxiety is totally normal. Some fear is totally necessary. But when they start to take over, when they stop you from living the life that you want, that's when it might have tipped into an anxiety disorder. The good news, though, there is support, there is science, and there are proven ways to manage it. Okay, hope that was clear. Let's move on. So, could anxiety be one of the greatest superpowers we possess as human beings? No, I hear you cry. And if you'd have asked me that a few years back, I'd have said no too. But hear me out. Let me have me 2 pence worth. Here we go. You ready for this? Anxiety is the price we humans pay for having the incredible ability to imagine the past and the future. And it's so true, isn't it? If we couldn't reminisce on the past or look forward to the future, and we were in the present moment all the time, then anxiety wouldn't exist, and neither would this podcast. But here's the twist. That same imagination, if we use it well, it can be one of our greatest strengths. It can be one of our greatest superpowers. It's like that famous quote from Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. It's the ability to choose our response, to imagine it as a superpower, or to misuse the power and misuse the imagination. It's really up to us. It's how we respond. That's the difference. Because think about it. This superpower has shaped the world. Scientists have imagined cures and created life-saving treatments. Think of the vaccines that were rolled out during the pandemic. Inventors learned from crashes and built planes that crossed oceans. Elon Musk, boo, built rockets that nearly went into space. Crazy Elon. Civil rights leaders imagined equality and sparked real change. Think of Martin Luther King. I have a dream. Basically, he had an imagination to think about a world where equality would be something that would just be normal. And look what's happened. We're getting there. Artists and filmmakers move us with stories and ideas pulled from the imagination. But more often than not, what do we humans do? We misuse our imaginations. We use our imagination to picture everything going wrong. All the what ifs, worst case scenarios. That's when anxiety kicks in. So here's the big idea. So if we've learned to imagine in the wrong direction with anxiety, surely we can learn to steer it the other way, in the right direction, that is going to help us thrive with anxiety and not just survive with it. One of the most useful things that I do now that I didn't used to do when the smoke alarm goes off and anxiety kicks in is this. I don't panic. I used to, and that just made everything worse. Now, I pause, I take a breath, I notice the alarm, and I just thank the alarm for turning on, for showing up. I'm like, oh, hello, anxiety. I hear you, I see you, and I feel you. And instead of getting scared of the alarm, I get curious about it. It's just an alarm. Don't be frightened of it. It's just doing its thing. A ring, ding-a-ling-ling. So I say, okay, anxiety, you've gone off, you've turned up. I'm just going to check if there's an actual problem. Yeah, okay, right. No real danger, no real fire. It's just burnt toast. Thanks for showing up. See you again soon. Now, let me give you a real life example of how that same alarm can play out in two very different scenarios. And I'm going to use public speaking as an example, as I do a lot of it. And I think it's something we can all relate to because we've either done it or we're going to have to do it at some point in our lives. So here we go. Scenario number one. This is when I misuse my imagination. So I'm about to go on stage. The alarm goes off. The body does its thing. Heart races, shaking, sweating, bit of trembling. Thoughts kick in. What if I mess up? What if no one laughs? What if I forget everything? If I believe those thoughts and treat them as facts, it's going to make everything worse. Suddenly, it feels like there's a real fire, not just burnt toast. And I react like it's life or death. I back out, I avoid, I run. But here's the thing. That short-term relief, it comes at a long-term cost. It's called short-term avoidance for long-term maintenance. The more you avoid something because of anxiety, the stronger that anxiety becomes next time. So let's look at scenario number two. This is when I use my imagination as a superpower. Same situation, about to go on stage, heart races, shaking, sweating, trembling, same thoughts. What if I mess up? What if no one laughs? What if I forget everything? But this time, I respond differently. Instead of panicking, I pause. I notice the alarm. I say, oh, hello, anxiety's here. Thanks for trying to protect me, but I've had a look. I'm safe. I pause, take a breath, in through the nose, out longer through the mouth, calm the nervous system, and I just get curious, not scared. I observe the thoughts without judgment. I remind myself, these are just thoughts. They're not facts. This isn't a tiger. It's just Tuesday. And I use a bit of self-talk. Look, Joe, it's normal to feel nervous. These feelings don't mean danger. They just mean that you care. And yes, it feels uncomfortable, but I accept the discomfort instead of fighting it, not trying to push it away. I step on stage, I speak, I get a few laughs. It's the same situation, but a totally different outcome, all because of how I responded. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility. It's the ability to choose your response. Okay, time now for my top takeaway of the week from my anxiety busting toolbox. This week it's, drum roll please, real fire or burnt toast. Now, I've talked about it in this episode quite a lot, so let me explain the real fire or burnt toast technique and how you can use it step by step the next time you feel anxious. Also, I've attached a PDF that you can download and print out of this technique in the show notes so you can look at it in more detail and take your time on it. So here goes. Now remember, anxiety is like an early warning alarm system designed to keep you safe, like an internal smoke alarm. So you start to feel anxious. Step one, just notice that your body's smoke alarm has gone off. You might feel racing heart, shaky hands, sweaty palms, fast breathing, worried thoughts going round and round. That's just your alarm. The goal isn't to panic about it. It's to check what type of alarm it is. So get curious. Step two, take a pause. Just for a few seconds and ask yourself these questions. Number one, is there a real danger right now? Or number two, is this a false alarm? Is it just burnt toast? Step three, decide what to do. If it's a real fire, of course, take action to stay safe. That's what your alarm's for. If it's burnt toast and a false alarm, remind yourself, this is just a false alarm. Yeah, my body feels anxious, but there's no real danger. There's no immediate threat. So use your calming tools, bit of breathing, hand on your heart, and just observe the thoughts. Let the feelings pass. And remember, whatever we resist persists. We've got to feel it too. You got it. Heal it. Step four, practice often. Practice makes progress, percentages. The more you practice this, the better your brain gets at knowing the difference between real fires and burnt toast. And remember, your alarm's still going to go off. Mine goes off multiple times a day, and that's normal. But you'll know how to handle it and stop reacting automatically. So that's a wrap on episode 2. Today, we explored the difference between anxiety, fear, and anxiety disorders. Is anxiety a superpower? Oh, yes, it is. And there's another top takeaway of the week for you to test out. Hit follow, share with a mate, and get in touch. Join me next week for episode 3 for our first ever interview on the podcast. I sit down with Megan, a Year 10 student from St George's Academy in Sleaford, Lincolnshire. She opens up about losing both her parents, life in foster care, and how humour and routine help her cope with grief. We chat about cutting her 14-hour-a-day screen time. Yeah, you heard that right, which made a massive difference to her physical and mental health. What a surprise. We also dive into the pressure of social media, the dark side of the TikTok shop, anemia, self-harm, and body image. A lot to unpack. And of course, I'll share another top takeaway of the week from my anxiety busting toolkit. Practical tools you can use straight away. Don't miss it. I'll see you inside. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Anxiety Uncovered. Be sure to stay tuned for future episodes and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoyed the show and you think others would too, I'd be really grateful if you could recommend it and we can grow this community together. To get in touch or follow on social media, check out the show notes. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have ideas for future episodes or topics related to anxiety that you'd like to learn more about, please get in touch and I'll dedicate those episodes to you. If you need help right now, please speak up, even if it feels hard. Talk to a trusted adult, friend, or family member. It took me just 20 seconds of insane courage to go to the doctor and ask for help after putting it off for many years, and it honestly saved my life. For additional support, consider free online resources like Anxiety UK, which offers confidential help, or Shout, SHOUT, a free 24/7 text service for anyone in the UK who's struggling. And if you're outside the UK, I highly recommend the website adda.org. I'm your host, Joe Rowntree. It's been a pleasure. And until next time, big love, Godspeed, and Amor Fati.